Good afternoon, everybody, and welcome to the John Mendola Show as we welcome in the head coach at Siena, Gerry McNamara, and Justice Shoats, Holy Redeemer grad, Lock Haven, and now Siena. Coach, welcome into the show today, and Justice, welcome in today.
Thanks, John. You got too much handsome in one photo right here. I don't know how you guys handle it.
Well, it's great to see you guys, Coach. It's been a long time since you and I have connected, but still following you and so happy for you now become the head coach at Siena. Let's talk a little bit about your feelings now starting camp at Siena, how things are going so far to start the season.
Oh, it's been great. You know, we got together. We had our group on campus June 3rd. I think the big thing, any coach, they hope they get a group that's mature in their approach and they're tough. I feel like we've kind of matched all those things here. And, I needed to bring in some Northeast PA toughness, you know what I'm saying? So the big thing for us was, just in terms of how we daily approach it, do we have the discipline and maturity to win each day? And, you get a job like this, you understand that it's bigger than you. People care about it. It's important. The product is important to the alumni, the fan base, the students. And I just, right from our first meeting as a group, that's what we talked about is we've got to represent this community. It's important to them. And every time we step on the floor, on the court, we've got to make sure that's at the forefront of what we're trying to do. And it's been nothing short of great. My group, I love my group. I love how tough they are. They want to win. They want to learn. They want to get better. And, I've enjoyed this. I've had a lot of great seasons as a coach. I've enjoyed being around this group as much as any group I've been around.
Let's talk a little bit about, coming to a winner. You got Justice, who's a winner. Everything he does, he wins, much like yourself. Talk a little bit about, what that's been like for you guys to kind of, say, hey, we're going to go do this. We're going to find ways to win games.
Well, any coach, you're always trying to improve, get better. I've told Justice's story before. Brian Coyle, who's a good friend of mine, who coached Justice in AAU. I think it was probably one of the Zooms or live feeds I was watching of their group, the NAPA elite group, and the first time I had seen I called Brian after the game. I said, "Hey, who's your guard? Who's the guard you got?" And it's tough to evaluate when you watch. On a live stream, it's easier to evaluate a kid in person, but I knew right from the first time that I saw him that he was our caliber of level. So when I obviously had an opportunity here and Justice was in the transfer portal, those were the first guys I reached out to. And, it wasn't easy. It wasn't easy. My man had some options, and we were fortunate to kind of get in there early in terms of, hopefully relaying the message to him of, hey, we really like you. I've obviously watched you. We're from the same area. That's not the most important thing, but who can you go and trust with, the future of your career in terms of the next process. And, we got him up on campus, and it was still just like a week or two before you made the call, you know what I mean? So he had us sweating a little bit, but the most important thing is we knew we had a really good player. I talked to multiple coaches that I know in his league who also knew he was a really good player. So, you've seen him before. You get this guy with the basketball in his hands, and he can do some dynamic things. And guards win at this level. It's just the reality of it. You need guards to be able to make plays for you. I could draw up any set in the world, but when that joint gets to 8 seconds, you need a guy that go make a play for you, and he's one of those guys.
Justice, let's talk about your adjustment now to Siena from coming from Lock Haven, hitting that transfer portal. What's it been like to be around Coach McNamara and kind of soak it all up?
It's definitely a process so far. I mean, I like everything we got going here. Got a good group of guys, good coaching staff. Putting a lot of work this summer. So I'm definitely excited. Ready to get after it, my brothers, man.
Let's talk about your athleticism. You could long jump forever. You could, catch a football. You could do so much on the basketball court. How's that athleticism playing out right now with some of your teammates, and where you feel like you're going to play here at a great school like Siena and a Division I level?
I feel like it's definitely helping. Even with our strength and conditioning program here, it's obviously getting better. So I'm definitely going to be seeing a lot of more lanky guys, height, length at this level. So I think I'm going to adjust pretty well.
Coach, go back to you. You guys are kind of both 5'11", so to speak, but different type of basketball players. But this kid has freakish athletic ability and what he could jump height-wise, distance-wise. I mean, and things he could do with the basketball just really could be. He's a playmaker.
He's a playmaker. He's not quite as athletic as I was, but he can still he can still do some things. You know, it's funny. I've made the analogy to him. You don't a guy like Kyrie Irving. I don't throw that around very lightly. That he's just so spectacular from like 6 feet and in, and how crafty he is. And I think the big thing, like you see Manu Ginobili a few years ago, like when he started doing that Euro step and crafty moves. You know, he's just got the uncanny ability of when he goes by people to still get a quality shot. You know, in the open court, you know how quick and athletic and explosive he is. And I think he and I have talked a lot about, I think the next stage of his development is, you know, not just being that incredible scoring finisher, but getting to that second level and really picking a defense apart and making people better. And he's made huge strides in that area. You know, as crafty as he is off of 1 foot, sometimes it's better to go off two because you draw two players and now you can pick it apart under control without leaving your feet. And we've seen those strides. So, you know, I'll be quite honest. Like after week 2 of the summer, I just saw a complete shift in him. Like one of the first guys in the gym every day. He's already worked out today. Just his approach. He's continuing to evolve and get better because it means something to him. I think you start to realize, you know, I've done this long enough. You understand when you get in this, the approach of how people work. You understand who it's important to, and he's a hooper. Like he loves basketball. He loves the game, and how he plays. You know, I say to my guys a lot, like at the end of the day, how you play is a representation of your character. You know, your toughness, your selflessness, all those things matter. But I still think he's scratching the surface. I think he's got a ton more growth to go, and he's already, regardless, he's going to impact the game. You know it, but I still think this guy, his ability is through the roof. His ceiling is not touched yet. He's going to get better and better.
Justice, so many, you know, important people in your life. We go back to Holy Redeemer and the community that you affected here. And then, you know, hearing from your high school coaches is saying, man, Lock Haven made it tough for you to leave in the sense of there were good people there. They do good things for you and helped you out. And you had to find that right fit. And right now it is Siena. And I think you made that right choice. And listen to what Coach McNamara is talking about. But talk about some of those important people along the way for you to help you with this journey to now put you in the place of play for Siena Saints.
I would say my high school coach definitely had a big part in that. You know, me and him were tight ever since I was a freshman in high school. And, you know, obviously my family also plays a good part in that. You know, my mom, my dad, sisters. So, I mean, they're all along for the ride. So it should be a good one.
Justice, for as driven of a student athlete that you are, Coach McNamara could be at another level. Talk about his passion. He sees it in you. You're seeing it in him. What's it like to see who he and what he is all about there?
Oh, it's definitely great. I mean, he's a competitor just like myself. So he gives us his all, and we give it back to him every practice. So, I mean, we're ready to get out there and get going, man.
So let's talk about, you know, going against guys a hair bigger, maybe some 7', 7'1" guys there at Siena you got in practice. Talk a little bit about what it's like. You change your game at all? It's still you just playing who you are and make it work?
I feel like I'm adjusting well. I mean, I always played around size. So, I mean, I'm definitely going to have little tweaks to probably play around 7-footers, you know, length, but not too much of a change. You know, just play my game, get where I got to get to my spots, get everybody involved, you know.
Coach McNamara, the transfer portals, you know, it's a huge thing in any sport right now. And talk a little bit about, you know, diving in and finding a gem like Justice and other people that kind of try to help this program that just had 4 wins last year.
There's a lot of negative, you know, in terms of what people portray the portal as. And there's a lot of negative in it, to be quite honest. But, you know, I think these type of situations are where you find the real positives in it. You know, I'm really lucky. I think there was only of the 8-9 guys we brought in, maybe 1 or 2 guys that I didn't have a previous tie or relationship to. So, you know, a program wins 4 games like this last year. I think the most important thing is a refresh, you know, a nice clean slate, clean start. A guy like Justice's situation is he's incredibly confident in his own ability. And he went through the process of getting to the level that he knows he's capable of playing at. And now you get to do it with the relationship of people that believe in you as well. So, I think there's a lot of negativity in terms of it. But the way I look at it is, how can I impact guys where it means something, where now the next step for them is all about winning. It's all about how can I better myself, my process. And I feel like we touched on all that. I've got a really good group, and Justice kind of just touched on it. Like, we're ready to go. I think the maturity in their approach, and a lot of these guys feel like this is their second chance. A guy like Just, he's looking at it like, this is where I knew I should play all along and how capable I am. So, for me, it's refreshing in terms of taking over a program. You get a chance to bring in a lot of your own guys and kind of start new, start fresh. I think for the program, that's important. For us, it's important. But just their process, their approach, and their maturity has been the thing I've been impressed with the most.
Yeah, comfortability. You at Syracuse all those years in different fashions as a player, as a coach. And, taking that step, everybody always says, listen, you're not, get uncomfortable. And that's when you're going to grow. I'm sure it was truly uncomfortable to say, hey, I'm going to step outside of this and I'm going to go become a head coach somewhere. Talk a little bit about, that decision-making process.
If you're not learning, you're dying in this. That's just the way it is. And I could have stayed in Syracuse for the rest of my life. And it wasn't just because of my love for the university. It was really the school district. I got 4 kids. And the only uncomfortability I had of leaving Syracuse was uprooting my children. Other than that, it was a home run in terms of, the program, the area, the opportunity to coach this place. So, I think at the end of the day, just like a player, and one of the reasons I chose to go to Syracuse as a player was I wanted to challenge myself. One of the reasons you want to be a head coach is you want to challenge yourself. You want to put yourself out there and see, how good can I be? I don't think I'd do anything as passionately if I didn't feel stressed to be great. I think any great competitor, that's what they want. They want that type of pressure. I love the fact that I wake up every day and feel a little bit of stress because I want to make sure that I put this program in the right position. I put my players in the right position, that they go out and they represent themselves, their program, their community, and their families the way that they want to. How can I relay the message of how important it is to approach every day, to put yourself in those scenarios, to go out there? So, everybody wants to test themselves. That's a competitor. I got a great opportunity here with a great group. And, now that my kids are in school and settled, I'm just ready to get to work.
Justice, for you, let's talk about your stress. It's a whole new atmosphere for you, but kind of settling in that regard. Talk about, are you feeling it? Or are you like, hey, this is super exciting, man. This is what you want.
I would say I'm definitely feeling it a little bit. I mean, stress comes along with everything, So, definitely I'm adjusting well to this level. So the stress, I mean, it's only going to keep getting worse from here. So, I mean, as long as we keep stacking these good days, keep showing up, putting the work we have to do, we should be good.
John, here's what I'll tell you about the stress and the pressure. Guys like us feel it in the weight. So right now, who is it? Tom Petty, the waiting is the hardest part. Like, that's the only time I feel, not at ease is waiting in between. Like, we have a, close scrimmage this Sunday and it's Monday. Like, I can't wait to Sunday. So I'm like, I just want to get to Sunday. You want to get to tip. And, that's where we're at, especially that we've been together so long since June. So right now it's about, like, you're anxious because, like, we've been beating each other up. Like, it's a time we roll it out against somebody else and see where we're at, get some new film to watch. I have a few numbers written on my board for motivation this week. So it's really the waiting where you get anxious. But once a competitor, once that ball is tipped, you're going to see who you really are. And that's what we can't wait till the most.
Coach, how about a typical, non-game day versus a game day, whether it's at Syracuse, down at Siena? How long are your hours on a typical day as a, now a head men's basketball coach at a D1 level compared to maybe an assistant at Syracuse? Still comparable? Hasn't
changed. The way I always approached it, when I first came back to be a grad assistant, my wife and I talked and I said, listen, honey, you got to understand of the hours that I'm about to work. And she's like, let's go. Like, I understand it. I understand this is what you want to do. So the time commitment is immense. You don't have hours. The reality of it is as a head coach, you're responsible for an entire group of young men. So that's at the forefront. I thought that way as an assistant coach. I coached the guards at Syracuse. So for 15 years, I felt the responsibility of these 6, 7, 8 kids are my responsibility every single day, every night. So when you go to bed and you put this thing on the nightstand, you're hoping it doesn't ring, So the time commitment's the same. I've always put a ton of hours in. The reality of it is if you got a great group, it's fun. It gets to the point when you do this that if you get a group that like their approach is a professional one, you want it more for them than you want it for yourself because it's about the relationships. You want these kids because they've put themselves and they've put the work in. You just want to see them be successful. So my hours haven't changed. I've always put a lot of hours in. I make sure the family's good. That's got to be my priority every day. And that's absolutely a balancing act.
Justice, for you, how about your hours? You talk about how many shots you're taking, or the weight room, or the stretching, or the shoot arounds, different things. I'm sure your schedule's probably pretty packed, whether it's 6 a.m. or 10, 11 o'clock at night.
Yeah, so I would say compared to Lockhaven, this schedule is definitely a lot more difficult. The days are not too much longer, but they're longer, get it in, get your work, get your one workout individual, get your team practice, your team lift. So, the little things, I think it's definitely a lot different from Division II, obviously. So,
how about as far as shooting wise, have you honed in with Coach McNamara as far as, your jump shot, working on that with him?
Yeah, he definitely helped me there. He gave me a couple tweaks on my jump shot, obviously. I think it's more, repetition thing also. So been getting my reps in on that. So we're definitely looking for a jump for that this season.
Coach, I know we're going to get to the part where you guys are going to play Bucknell in Wilkes-Barre, end of November. That's really exciting. Wanted to reflect back and on that high school career years. I know it's forever ago, but looking at that dunk back at Martz Hall, 55 points, the whole gig against Trinity. Do we show Justice yet? That we got to show him that film. That might have been the only dunk you had, Coach.
No, I had a few. Don't get him started. I don't need this. Today.
We remember Justice throwing some down along the way there in high school. But, how about getting back to Northeast PA a day or two here and there, maybe over time? You're able to get back to Northeastern Pennsylvania, Coach?
Yeah, I do my best. That's where the family is. That's home. And summertime is a little bit easier. Once we're in it now, I'll try to get home for Christmas. But I'm excited about the Bucknell game, for us, obviously, but really the area. It was hard to believe that our Syracuse team in 2006, I think, was the last Division I basketball game that was held in that area. So I think it's important to us to come home, and it's a special moment, obviously, for both of us. But, both of us understand we come from a really good area for sports. People love sports. People love hoop. They love basketball down there. And, it's nice to be able to provide them an opportunity to go watch two really quality programs with rich tradition compete against one another. So I'm very proud of that. I'm very proud that Jim Boeheim did that for me as a senior at Syracuse, that he would understand, I want to give back to Gerry. He helped the program. Let's play a game in his hometown. And that meant the world to me. So now to be able to bring basketball back down there in that venue, what an environment we played in. So I know it's going to be a great environment for us to play in, and we get to go against a really quality opponent. So just really special moment, but more so, I think we're proud of the fact that we get to take high quality basketball to really good programs back home, and they get an opportunity to watch it.
Justice, you still, I'm sure, got some great friends back here in Northeast PA, and I'm sure it'll be a special moment for you to step on that arena floor, not as a district champion, but as a college basketball player.
Yeah, I mean, I'm really excited. I mean, as you said, first Division I game since he played there himself. I mean, I'm just excited to show what we got this yew and show out for his hometown.
Well, you guys have a lot to offer. Season kicking off pretty soon. I know your time is valuable, and we appreciate both of you joining us. And all the best, Coach McNamara, there in your first season, and Justice Shoats now at Siena. It's awesome to see. But all the best, guys.
Thanks, John.
Thank you.
All right, have a great day.
You too.